Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be breaking down a build order utilizing the Dome of the Faith as opposed to the Tower of Victory. I think a case can be made for both. I actually prefer Dome of the Faith because it does give a little more tempo, and for my playstyle, I feel like that suits me a little better. And if you're in that boat, I think that this can give you a pretty good look at it too. I know Beastie just put out a build order for Tower of Victory. Geared more towards long feudal, which is where Deli excels, but I think there's a case to be made for Dome of the Faith as well. They can also play long feudal, but it also catapults you into castle a little better. Just looking at AOE 4 world here, this is all ranks. If you look at games played, I do think Deli is highly underrated. They are just ahead of the Absid with about 34,000 games played on the recent patch. Compare that to English, that's right at 207,000 games played, which is the most. So if you're looking for a civ that counters English pretty well, if you're getting annoyed with getting pounded by longbows on the ladder, Deli's your civ. Look here, they're at about a 55% clip over all ranks. If we look at Diamond and above, that rings pretty true. Deli coming in pretty high overall on win percentages. Against English specifically, almost 60%. So, like I said, probably pretty underrated. Terrible matchup against Jeanne d'Arc, but against every other civ, they do pretty well. So again, I'll kind of walk through that build order. I do think some of the top level pros, when they make these, they go really fast and they skip some things that low to even probably mid-level players may miss, especially if you don't play this civ a lot. So I'll just kind of walk through step by step. I know I did a 2TC team guide the other day, but this one will be rank match 1v1 Dome of the Faith build only. So we'll start here. Just the initial opening, we're going to send 5 villagers to a straggler tree. They're going to chop in just one trip with wood, and then the 6th vill is going to go ahead and build the mill. You can, depending on where this tree, if the tree's here, you can chop it and then finish building the mill with those vills, so they just drop off the wood there and save some walk time. First vill out is going to go ahead and create our mosque, and then head to food, and then we're going to send our next 2 to gold. So as soon as these come up, you want to make sure you're getting research started on these techs, because we get them for free. All right, now the mosque is going to have an area of influence, so any buildings within the influence of the mosque are going to get increased research rate, and there's going to be 1 scholar that drops into the mosque that you make, whether it's the mosque or the Dome of the Faith you make first. A scholar will drop in there. So also, once these chop the wood and head to the mill, you want to build a house. I'm a little late on that. I tried to film this initially while playing. It's tough, so I'm not that good. So once we get the house out, so again, we've got 7 on food, 2 to gold, and we'll send 2 more to food here. So we've got techs going. Very important tech for Deli out of the mosque. First one to research is efficient production. So that allows you to garrison scholars into military buildings, which gives double production speed. It also increases research on unit upgrades. So H2, you'll have an upgrade for the spearman. Makes it very quick. And also your units double produce. So Deli being one of the berry civs, what that means is they actually get a bonus for collecting berries. Let's see if it mentions it here. So they get increased gather rate on berries. For most civs, berries are the slowest food gathering source. But since Deli, Abbasids, Ottomans, I believe the civs that can't take the boar, they get a bonus on berries. And when you build the mill, buy the berries, you'll see the fence around it. You won't see that on these yet because there's no mill. It adds an extra 100 food to those berries, and you gather it a little faster. So once we have 9 on food, 2 on gold, we'll start rallying the wood, and we'll take 4 from the food to age up, and we'll pull 1 more from the food to go to wood. So we'll be left with 4 here. Now we do want to consider where we're going. I probably should have gone to this tree for the wood, so that way when I'm ready to build my lumber camp, I can just drop it. So we're aging up now, 4 to the Dome of the Faith. You also want to take into consideration where we're dropping this landmark. This also creates that area of influence or extends it. You want to have it at least where the scholars can walk to your production buildings to garrison as they come out. Also, once we're done building this, we're going to send those villas back to the tree they were chopping because it's already chopped down and we don't have to take that time. They'll go and they'll take one more trip for an extra 40 wood there before we send them back to food, and that just gives us a little boost on wood. As we hit age 2, we want to make sure we're dropping our production buildings and our blacksmiths, again, for those free techs. You can start research on this forestry here. With Delhi, your technologies don't reset when you stop researching them, they just pause. So you can pause it and come back to it. So right now we went efficient production and piety. Once we hit feudal, we're going to pause that and we're going to go straight to efficient production. We want that first, and then piety, and then all seeing eye. So still rallying the wood here. Usually we'll go at least to 8, sometimes 9 to 10, just kind of depending which route we're going. Maybe more if we're opening with archers. So we're just about there. Usually between like 420 and 430 is when we'll hit feudal. Once we get there, I'll pause this real quick. So, as always, of course, let's see here. We're looking for our scout, so kind of show you our scouting path. We're on his side of the base as we're aging up. We want to see also what he's got going on, right? You can see they're berry sieve too, so they've got fences around the berries. He's aging up with the Bazaar trade wing, so that's going to give an option for traders, of course. Then they've got kind of the gamble wing. They can get some unique units out of that. So we see that. We're looking maybe for any other production buildings. We don't see anything yet. So, all right. So we hit feudal. This is where we want to kind of go through the checklist, especially as Delhi, because there's a lot of things to do at once each time you age up. So first thing, we want to queue up our scholar. These are 80 gold each. We'll have enough for one. The second one will come in shortly. Also here, we're going to pause piety, however you pronounce that, and we're going to give priority to sanctity, and then queue up the others. And we want to drop, we've got plenty of wood here, we want to go ahead and drop our stable right away. That could have been dropped immediately. And then we're going to pause survival techniques, and we're going to go with horticulture and get the rest of the technologies here. Alright, so I had queued up forestry, but we paused it. And we're getting all the other techs, so just clicking through, make sure that happens. Like I said, one more track with wood, we're going back to food, back to the berries for them. And now that we've got 8, really 10 on the wood, we're going to start rallying to food. Alright, I don't quite have enough food for this Ghazi yet, but as soon as I do, I'm going to get that out. You'll see some variations here where some people like to drop blacksmiths first. I almost always go Ghazi, unless it's against French or Joan d'Arc. I'll go Ghazi, and we'll head to their side and just look for whatever resource is most exposed, or a lot of times gold if it's just kind of, if all things are equal. And we can also use that to scout a little bit and see what they've got for military or what kind of production buildings they've got down. So we'll be rallying to food here. This gold should pretty well hold steady. So stable, barracks. Now that those are both up, we did go ahead and drop our blacksmith, and we'll keep that a bit. As we can organically drop a second blacksmith and we have enough wood, as well as producing units here, we'll drop our second blacksmith too. So we're going to prioritize iron undermesh. That's going to give us the +1 range damage, ranged armor. So if we have to dive towers, or if we run under the TC, we can live a little longer. So here we go. We got the tower on the gold already. We already can assume that's looking like a fast castle, which is a pretty strong build for the Ayubids. Spearmen are out. You can see this. There's a scholar in both of these now, and that speeds that up pretty quickly. We're waiting on sanctity to come in. We've got another, what, 45 seconds. Still rallying to food. You can see here. Now we've got a lot of wood. We can, okay, yep. We're going to go ahead and drop that second blacksmith. Again, scouting around the map. Scouted most of it. We're going to start heading his way, just to keep tabs on what he's doing, and we can adjust on the fly here. Alright, so he's got a little cheeky wall up there. That's a good wall. Alright, he's also back on these berries already. And we see Spearman. Spearman, trying to wall in the front. I do try to run from this. I don't run far enough. Alright, a lot of idle time here. Big win for us. So I run away. I should have shift queued him all the way around because he chased me. He's going to kill that Ghazi. We did go ahead, synced these in. We've moved out to the sacred sites. Fortunately, I sent both of these to the same one. Now, I'll pause this again for a second. This is the reason you don't go 2TC with Delhi. You get so much more value out of taking early map control, taking the agency, and taking the military lead. You don't need the second TC. You actually get more benefit from being able to move out and take these sacred sites first. So they're 125 gold a minute for Delhi. You get a little bit of a boost. You get all three of them. It's 375 gold a minute. It's about 9 villagers roughly, and that's without any investment. You don't have to invest in the 400 wood, 350 stone. You don't have to invest in the food to make villagers and wait for that time to pay off. That's instant. As soon as you can take them, granted you have the control and the ability to do that, you're getting the added benefit of about 9 villagers almost instantly once you hit that point. As well, getting your second TC down with Delhi usually starts around the 6-minute mark anyway, so the time just doesn't work out. This is hands down the only way to open with Delhi is 1 TC in 1v1 anyway. There are some other builds with, you know, House of Learning. I just don't think that those are viable right now. Housed again here, unfortunately. He's going to move out and take this third sacred site. When we get the second blacksmith, we want to go siege engineering. So depending what happens with the game, if it stays real long feudal, you can end it in feudal and start dropping rams. And then steel arrow and bloomery. You can see here, 14 military to 8. We just want to make sure we keep him in his base so we can take these sacred sites. And the goal really is to utilize this map control and military advantage to spring load into Castle Age. So we get another power spike once we reach Castle, especially if we get there first, by being able to take the relics. And also with village fortresses, we get a unique tech where we can use our keeps as town centers. Alright, so while we're taking that engagement, let's go back and kind of check in here. We're at 6 on wood now. I moved some of these. I started getting a little heavy on wood. I moved some of those to food. We're not going to look so much at the fighting on this one. But yeah, so as you catapult into castle, if you're able to get all 5 relics at 80 gold a minute each, you're looking at an extra 400 gold a minute. So between sacred sites and relics, you have about, give or take, 18 to 20 vills, right? Again, with minimal investment, there's no TCs, there's no food, there's no waiting for the payoff. Pretty instantaneous that those come in. So huge advantage. The trouble with that and with Delhi is that doesn't necessarily scale into the late game, because other than relics and sacred sites, there aren't any other economic advantages with their bills. You don't have to pay gold for technologies and upgrades, but your gathering rates aren't anything special on food or wood, so they're just pretty generic villagers. So they don't scale real well into the late game, and that's where village fortresses comes in. Not having those extra eco advantages, you can at least offset that once you get to castle and you start gathering stone. The keeps are cheaper, so that once those are down, you can now start creating vills, and as you get 2 or 3 keeps out on the map, then you can scale your vills as well, and that's where you can at least keep up mid-castle to early imperial with economy. That does tail off again as you cap out at vills at 120, 130 vills. again, you lose those eco bonuses. So as it goes super late game, again, the edge starts to turn towards your opponent. So I do think that, you know, if not in Feudal, early to mid Castle, maybe early Imperial are where Delhi really wants to finish the game. And as it goes super, super late, your edge starts to really thin out. Alright, so now, again, we're parlaying all that gold into our Castle Age. So we pulled everybody from wood here. Pause it one more time. Kind of a golden rule of Age of Empires is you don't want to fight as you're aging up. I do think Delhi is an exception to that. So once we get to Castle, we're not really going to be making these feudal units anymore. Gazis, spearmen, archers. We're going to be switching to gold units. So lancers, men-at-arms, crossbows. Because we're going to be swimming in gold, and we're just going to be trying to get as much food as we can. And with the double production on these buildings available, we won't really need more production for a bit. This should hold us, especially if we already have a military advantage. So we're going to pull everybody from wood. Really all we'll need is enough wood to keep up with supply and build houses. So we're going to pull everybody from wood for that age up, and from there we're going to send them to stone. Keeps are also going to give us supply, right? So we want to make sure we just parlay that advantage as much as we can. Trying to kite these spearmen, I made a little bit of a mistake there. So he's not going to kill us with this. We're not too concerned. You can see he's getting closer to Castle. He's still a bit there. So we're going to have the lead regardless. All right. Once, like I said, they're moving to stone. Everybody else is going to go to wood. We've already got 23 on food. If we look at where the eco stands, you know, we're not ahead on wood now because we have to pull to build this. And he doesn't, so that'll be an advantage for him. Okay, so we've hit Castle. We're going to go through another checklist here. So we'll start this. We can now start pumping out our gold units. We're going to make a few more spears because he's got the camels out there. Scholars are already in position for some of these relics. That one's being picked up. That one's being picked up. We got one here. That one's walled off. I don't know that I actually see that yet. I think he's moving out to try to get there. Alright, they're coming to the stone. And we also want to queue up in the actual mosque herbal medicine and swiftness to make our scholars out of the Dome of the Faith. Again, free techs here. We want to make sure we start getting our free eco techs. And also village fortresses. That's the main reason we want to go with this landmark. We're a little slow. I'm working on trying to grab these relics first. So probably the most difficult part with Delhi is that transition. There's a lot of clicks, a lot of things you got to remember to do. So you can see here, techs are now coming in. Castle Age blacksmith techs coming in, and I'm going to want to get these scholars back in these production buildings so we can boost this production here. Make sure we get the numbers back in our favor. He is still in feudal age, so we've still got that advantage. We got one more relic hanging out over here. This scholar already got taken out. So a little bit asleep at the wheel in this example. Should take one of those scholars over there to go ahead and snag that relic. Now, I'll speed this up a little bit again. As we take this stone, again, if we've got map control and we're dictating tempo here, see, he's spot his trade now. That's why he's got a little bit of an eco advantage. So we've got map control, tempo. We can go ahead and drop this get out of my game keep here. Shuts off his trade. Shuts off the wood there. And that's going to be about it for this one, but you can kind of see where that tempo parlays, and like I said, in my opinion, why this Dome of the Faith is the landmark to go with. I'll have one more game example to show you here. And this one went fairly clean. Alright, these guys are going to move out. Now we're taking food on his side of the map, and there's not a whole lot he can do about it. Like I said, I got one more. This is another ranked game against the Byzantines. This one's a little more messy. But, again, I think it kind of highlights the strength of that early map control And we'll just speed this one up. So this is a little awkward because all of our straggler trees are on the other side, but 5 to wood. Already dropped it off. They're gonna come here and finish that, drop a house, drop the mosque. We'll go villas per resource here. First one that came out, built the mosque, went to food. I'll go 2 more to gold, 2 more to food, and then we'll rally to wood. Again, if we look at our scouting path here, we get to his side of the map. We're just going to scout around, snag as many of those sheep as we can, but we also want to see what he's doing so that we can react accordingly. So, Byzantines are not a night sit. They do have keshiks, but they take a while and they have to get olive oil. So we spot the Imperial Hippodrome. We're not super concerned about the horsemen. Our Ghazis will hold up very, very well against those. They're a little scary when they use the Triumph ability, but outside of that, we're just fine. Alright, so we're aged up. We'll queue up the Scholar. We switch to Sanctity. And we want to make sure we're getting our Ecotechs. Also, Stable coming down right away. Alright, so we got both production buildings. Like I said, we're going to send the Ghazi straight to gold. Could have had that Vil. Sacrificed him for nothing. So we got a little bit. I do have 2 spearmen here. A little out of position. I lose a Vil. This is where it gets a little messy. Quite a bit different game than what we just played because he does have those horsemen that he does a pretty good job running around with. Alright, first blacksmith down. Like I said, we'll drop the second blacksmith when we can organically, really. Alright, so we're going to take some Vils too. Alright, he's back in our base. So we keep a few units at home, but we also want to make sure we keep raiding. You see, we still have numbers. 2 villagers and 2 villagers. He's had some idle time here. He's had to run. He's off the gold. And once we can, we move out and take the sacred sites. Alright, so we got all 3. Still military numbers. Again, that efficient production is just huge. He's got to spend so much more wood to get equal numbers out. We just keep the pressure on here. We dink and dunk Vils. We keep him off gold. He's back on this wood. He had to migrate. Alright, here we are at the 11-minute mark. So we're making more units now than last game because he's putting up a little bigger fight. We're going to go ahead and start moving those scholars out and preparing for castle so we can swoop those up as soon as we can. So as this game's moved on, we've had to move out to food. One of the disadvantages of long feudal with Delhi is you're gonna have to move out for food. I did miss these horsemen coming through here. He spots my Vils. We're gonna fight him. So I didn't put towers. I wasn't expecting him to be out there. He's got Triumph though, so that hurts a little bit. Fighting too much of that with spears. But again, we did some damage too. So our damage is a lot more painful than his thus far because we have the secret sites. Now this hurts a little bit. So he knows where we're at. He's on both sides. I do get the tower up. I lose most of those, but run them off. So just keeping our head above water a little bit. We can trade out. We're going to trade better than him. For one, we're going to have more units, and we've got that gold flowing in. You can see here, we're almost to castle. He's got a little ways to go. We haven't quite draw. Yep, there's our second blacksmith. Couple more Vils from him on that food. Nice. We'll just keep this sped up as we go into castle here. Alright. So, we get there. Again, compound defender. We're going to go ahead and try to click through all our techs. We take a pretty bad fight here. That didn't need to happen. So So we actually flip this a little bit. We also get very aggressive with that keep after losing the army. That was a mistake. But we got our castle agents here. We just got horsemen and archers. We can hold up to that pretty well. And go ahead and drop this keep. Alright, along with that, we do have 3 relics in already, 2 more that are out there. So again, we're down, what, 14 vills? It's still in pretty good shape, you see. There's relic 4, relic 5. And we've got our ecotechs on the way. Village fortresses, it's pretty close to coming in, so we'll start closing this vill gap. He does catch us out there, so we sacrifice that. We had already sacrificed these over here. Painful, not ideal. It is what it is. So again, he's gone castle now too, but we have the tech advantage. We've been there longer. And we've already got the mangonel. He's got all that range. We just hit a huge shot there. So because we've been there longer, we're going to have our upgrades. He's going for upgraded units. So that engagement's a little better for us. We do let the mango get out of position, unfortunately. Alright, but we're 23 minutes here, so we're more than happy to go ahead and start making this farm transition. We got 2 town centers pumping, and 5 relics, currently 2 sacred sites, so this gap is closer than it looks. If we look at resources a minute, you know, other than food, because these farms are being built, we're still in great shape. Now, army value, that's going to be misleading because it doesn't count the olive oil units on his end. And this one's about to wrap up too. We're still knocking him off gold. Again, mostly horsemen on his side. He's got a few of those keshiks. We do catch him sleeping here a little bit, and bam. Just huge mango shots. Eviscerate his army. He's on the backside. We're still pretty well protected with that keep. We do lose 1 mango, but he loses about everything else here. So we got that Kishik. Alright, now his vills are going down in gold. It's looking pretty grim. Alright, he does get around back here. Again, we can send our production into our base, and also we've got the keep to protect us. And he's just running for his life here now. And that's going to be all she wrote. Again, also pretty nice. You can put those scholars in your siege production as well and speed that up. Very helpful. So yeah, I think that was a little more detailed look at how exactly to parlay your specific civ advantages, also considering the civ you're against and what you want to try to stop your opponent from doing as well. So again, I do think Delhi is one of the more underrated civs in the game. They are 3-star difficulty. There's a lot of little things you have to remember to do, a lot of clicks you have to make with, you know, scholars and garrisoning in production buildings, picking up relics, making sure you remember all the texts, even though they're free. Very easy to forget. But I think that gives a pretty good oversight on the particulars of how to get up and running. Obviously, as the game progresses into late feudal, early castle, into imp, you know, a lot of things can change, and you have to be able to adjust on the fly, and that's just game sense. But like I said, what I wanted to go over here was just the alternative to the Tower of Victory and what I use in my build order for Dome of the Faith and my mindset behind that. So hope you enjoyed. Feel free to drop a rating, leave a follow on the channel, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you.